My name's Daniel. I'm part of the professional services team. We visit customers, jump starts, engagements, doing lots of stuff to help people be successful with what they're doing with the Casper suite. And I came across this guy who does a lot with education and a lot with VPP and DEP. And with everything that's going on with the new VPP, what better person to give you some insight into how to be successful with it in the JSS. So, over to you.
Thank you. Hello folks, how are you all feeling today? You all ready for your night out tonight, are we? So let's get started. Okay, I think you all know the name of the session, so crack on. Right, my name's James. I'm founder and director of DataJar, which is a company I started back in 2013. Having worked for numerous other people and it never really working out, decided to do my own thing. I won't go into the politics. We're based in Brighton in the UK, about 50 miles south of London, if you don't know the UK. We provide services to both education and business, and I've been using Macs since they were very beige and yeah. A long time. We're fully certified with Jamf. We do integration services. We're an MSP. We're a reseller, etc., etc. A quick, who's here from the UK, actually? Ah, my groupies. There we go. Okay, let's get started. So today we're going to go over a few elements. It is a beginner session, but I am going to take it through the steps from cradle to grave. So we're going to be looking at getting Apple IDs sorted out. We're going to be looking at Apple deployment programs. We're going to be looking at a bit of planning, okay? Because we all do that, right? We all plan stuff. We document as well, don't we? Okay. And then equally, we're going to start looking at how we're going to leverage DEP and VPP, DEP and VPP from the JSS. Okay. Agent Apple ID. Now this is Apple's thing. They call it an agent Apple ID. It isn't a spy or someone like that. It's an, hi, I'm agent Apple ID. No, it's actually this. So. This is a recommendation that we tend to do when we set up customers, when we host a JSS for a customer. If they haven't got the deployment program set up, we take them through the entire process. So first off, we create an email address. Simple as that. Deploy it domain would be a logical one. I don't know if anyone else has got any thoughts on this, but this is what we do. You're going to need a mobile phone as well associated with the Apple ID because you're going to need two-factor. And the Apple ID, under no circumstances, should ever be associated with the iTunes Store if you're using it with Apple deployment programs. You can get yourself in a whole world of pain when the customer phones you up and goes, "Hi, I've just logged on to the iTunes Store account." And I'm like, no. It will break it, basically, and there's no way to unassociate it once it's been associated with the iTunes Store. So, and there's a couple of KBs here as well. I'll leave them up there for a brief second. And we've got our own guide down the bottom there, which is what we send out to our customers about, again, what information you need and getting the various bits and pieces together. All right. So, Apple deployment programs. Do you like that slide? It took me ages. First off, we need to gather organization information. Okay, what do we mean by that? An address. We deal with free schools in the UK, so these are schools that actually haven't been built yet. So it gets quite hard when you go, "Can I get your address?" And they go, "We've not got one yet." So yeah, you need name, address of a contact. You need Dun & Bradstreet. A DUNS number, basically, VAT, tax status, etc., etc. You need to go to deploy, device.apple.com to enroll. And although it says, 5 days? A show of hands. Who's actually got set up with Apple deployment programs already? Show of hands. Oh, good. Okay. I'm going. It's fine. How long did it take? Show of hands. Did it take longer than 7 days? Yeah, oh yeah, there we go. I've had one that took like 3 weeks, and it was just, yeah, painful. So yeah, give yourself plenty of time. But again, there's no point even looking at any other bits and pieces until you've got your deployment program set up. We literally walk back off site. If they haven't done it, we're gone. Okay. There's another KB here, understanding the DEP and customer numbers, etc. There's some good information in that article, so do take a read on that one. Okay. Planning. Yes. We deal with a lot of partners in the UK, so these are other providers that are selling Apple equipment. Unfortunately, some of them are reselling from Apple resellers or distribution, and they're not actually set up themselves to be an Apple reseller, but they still want margin on the devices. This is a problem when we turn around to the actual end customer and we say, just enroll, and they say, what's your reseller ID? And we go, we haven't got one. So again, the procurement, buy from Apple direct or from an authorized reseller. Also look at your network, your enrollment network. So connectivity to the JSS, connectivity to Apple is a good start. I've been on sites before where they're using DPI, Deep Packet Inspection. We were getting random MDM errors. We had to whitelist various things to get this working. But it's about that end user experience, and it's about making sure that device can see what it needs to see and get enrolled. Apple IDs as well. If you're looking to associate applications to users, you're going to need an Apple ID on that device. And a directory service, I would personally say, is a must. It's one of the first things we do when we deploy a JSS. We put a directory service in place to make sure we can actually stay sane and associate apps to users. Okay, leveraging DEP. So this is an example workflow that I've put together. If it's wrong, don't shout at me, but this is what we did. So, first off, go to deploy.apple.com and put in your MDM server. Automatically assign any new devices that hit into your account with your MDM server. Nice checkbox. Next, we go out to our JSS. We add in our LDAP server. Again, this is about lining your ducks up in a row, making sure we've got all this stuff in place, because then your life is nice and simple, and you get to go home and see your wife and your children. We download our token, and we put it up into our JSS. Okay. And then we create a pre-stage enrollment, and we enable, there's an option in here to automatically assign new devices to that workflow. So with the workflow we've got at deploy.apple.com and this workflow, we don't need to do anything else because everything's just going to come in. So we just buy our devices and they will appear in the system. Okay. Because we've got our LDAP server in place, we can require authentication at the top. Obviously, we probably want to supervise our devices. We probably want to prevent the MDM profile from being removed. And we want to make the MDM profile mandatory. So this is kind of what it looks like, that workflow we had there. And this slide took me 4 hours. Ready? I want to clap at the end of this one. At the end. Right, first, so we join the Wi-Fi. Okay. User connects to the Wi-Fi network, could be Radius, could be whatever. They're on the network, great. The device will go out and activate with Apple, okay? We enable location services. I have seen an issue where if you get an iPad out of the box and it's been in the box since shipping and it's been there probably for, I don't know, a couple of months, I don't know what the lifespan is in that scenario, the clock skew on the device will be out, should we say. So when you try, if you don't enable location services, when it attempts to skip enrollment with the MDM server, you're going to get a profile installation failed. Just a heads up. Has anyone else seen that, actually? Yeah, okay. I'm not mad. English, but not mad. So next, the device will go out and get the DEP config. Okay. Because we enabled the LDAP authentication, we can now log on here. Now, I think this is a fantastic thing for, if you erase a device, you can essentially brick that device and disable the Active Directory account for the user that had it, and you're nice and secure, and the device is actually useless to anyone else. Okay, then we can go through our security options here. So Touch ID, passcode, Apple ID. I would say for users to create an Apple ID before they start going through this enrollment process, perhaps log on to a Mac, use iTunes, create an Apple ID, credit cardless perhaps. It's slightly easier than trying to use your fingers to create an Apple ID, enter your payment information, all the other bits and pieces. So if they've got all this information to hand before they go through this process, it's going to be a lot easier for them. Okay, so we now have a device which is assigned to a user because we hit require authentication. So it's actually assigned the device to the user in the JSS. It's supervised. The MDM profile is now installed, and the MDM profile cannot be removed, and the supervision profile is going to be hidden. Okay, so you're not actually going to see that directly on the device. Your JSS will report that the device is in fact supervised as well. And this is a little nugget. So if you are migrating to a DEP program, DEP program, and your users already have an iPad, and you associate that to a pre-stage workflow, and they go to restore their backup from iCloud, the iCloud backup can't be restored to the same device because all of the original supervision profiles and MDM profiles will go back down onto that device. You're essentially, just doesn't really work. So you need to get another device. Okay, so each user should transition to a new or different device to ensure device enrollment program supervision is enforced. So what you've got to do is you get your iPads, you stand in a line, you hand the iPad to the person on the left, and you get your new iPad, and you enroll it. That's my workflow anyway. We've got a KB on that with photos and a video. Anyway. So a quick recap on what we did there. So we've got automatic device assignment to DEP in the pre-stage. We used require authentication to associate the device with a user for the LDAP. and you want to make sure that the time on your JSS is synced to an external NTP server. So that's good for when the device enrolls, to make sure the profile goes down. We want to make sure that the clock is accurate on the iOS device also. And we personally use the serial number for the device name, because we're going to be using, most cases, if there's a one-to-one and there's a user using the device, we would much rather find the device by username rather than an asset tag or something like that. So this is by far the easiest method. Every device will be unique, and I think it's kind of a built-in asset tag because it's on the back as well, so you've got the device. And user directory service. It will make things so much easier. Okay. Any questions around that so far? Yep.
You said that every device requires an Apple ID. How does the new licensing where you deploy to a device instead of a user affect that?
I'll just come to that. Any? Okay.
Yes, one quick question.
Go.
We don't allow pairing of the devices for students because we don't want them taking and loading music and other things that are strictly for use with we provide that. Our Apple engineer ended up alluding that you can add the certificate of an individual MacBook during the free stage so that it potentially could be for, say, investigation purposes to link back to a MacBook, even though you uncheck that. I've not been able to verify that any place or find any documentation. Do you know?
Long answer? No. Right, we're particularly covering iOS today, but yeah, we can have a little chat afterwards. Come on, scenario. He's the man. Right, I was on holiday, lucky me, and iOS 9 hit, and I'd already written my slides, and I went, oh, I thought I'd done this. So yes, this is a fantastic change to absolutely everything, really, regarding iOS. We've all been waiting for it. And yay! So exciting. My wife was like, you're sad. Okay, this is an example workflow using device-based app assignments. So first off, we want to go and download our token for VPP from deployed@apple.com. And we go into our JSS and we check this. Well, we upload the token, then we check this new box here, which is populate purchase VPP content automatically. Another one. Yay! It's great. We can go into deployed@apple.com. We come in, we go and buy our app. Note, there is only one distribution method now, which is managed distribution. And a little tip, even if it's a free app, I tend to buy more than what I need. Purely because on the basis that if the developer decides to start charging one day for the app, you've already got like 1 million licenses. Okay. So we go into our JSS now. We can go to our mobile devices, mobile device groups, create a smart group. We can create some criteria. And this example, I've used, if the app name is Ring Central, if the device is supervised and is not an Apple TV, then I want the device to be in this group. We head out to mobile devices, apps, and the app will automatically appear in your catalog and this is new in 9.8.1. And another new option in 9.8.1 is the automatically update app as well, which is quite awesome. Okay. Go over to mobile devices, apps. Okay. Scope out your smart group, your app to the smart group you just created. And then we head over to the VPP tab under that app. And in there, we've got assign VPP content. Yes, yes. And you select your token from the bottom, and it just works. So we now have a device with no Apple ID at all. And the app is installed silently on supervised devices. Everyone, come on, come on, come on, yes. It's taken years to get us to this point. Now I've got to migrate all my customers to this. Right. Well, another really cool thing is we can start leveraging this as a little tip here. So we can now, let's say, deploy self-service on an iPad with no Apple ID. Yes. So we go into the JSS, we set that to basically a manual installation, so we're not going to deploy it automatically. We buy enough copies of the self-service app for our deployment, and we set that to install automatically. And then we can adjust the actual payload and the app configuration to be delivered when the app hits the device. And there's an article on Jamf Nation for this, but I've put it up here anyway. So you just edit your JSS URL down the bottom there. So a quick recap. So we're looking at managed distribution purchases now. No codes. There's no invitation now required at all because we can assign directly to the device. The apps automatically are populated in the app catalog from deploy.apple.com, and we can select either a forced install or self-service. And I no longer have a job because it does it all now. There's a few gotchas here. First off, the app that you're assigning to a device must support device-based licensing, and that's the key there. And in 9.8.1, the JSS will actually report if your VPP token is already in use elsewhere. So if you're migrating an MDM server, say you're coming from Watch to Casper Suite, you need to revoke all of your apps first before you put the token into the JSS. Otherwise, you're going to be in a horrible place. You can check to see if the actual app supports device-based licensing. Again, I found a great little article on Jamf Nation. There's the link there. You can actually, I think, scrape. There's a Python script. You can scrape the App Store, and it'll bring you back that key via the API on the App Store. Okay. Let's have a look at user assignments. So think of it this way when you're looking at user assigning apps as invite, assign, and deploy. That usually gets rid of a lot of the confusion when people are going, what are we doing, what are we doing? Just 3 steps. So first off, we had our LDAP server, as we did in the first point. We go into the Users tab, go to VPP Invitations, we create a new one. And we probably want to set perhaps to prompt on the iPad and make available in self-service, usually a good one to have. We can scope that VPP invitation out to our users. perhaps limit it to domain users if you're scoping out onto an LDAP. That way you know you're only going to get this invitation sent out to people within your organization. And next we can start to do some clever stuff. So if we go over to the Users tab, we can go to User Management, we can create an extension attribute. In this example, we're using Casper Focus. And we can just create a little pop-up. And for argument's sake, we're having assigned and equally unassigned. Okay. Now we can go to Users and Smart Groups. And we can create our smart group using the extension attribute we've just created. So first off, we want to make sure that we're using the right VPP account. You could have more than one. You're not going to want to send out a VPP invitation, an app to a device if the VPP invitation hasn't actually been accepted yet. So we want to make sure the invitation status is accepted. And if we, based on our extension attribute, if that has been set to assigned, then we want to make sure that that criteria is basically true. So the device will appear in that list, or the user will appear in that list. So we can go over to Users and VPP assignments, and we go to our app catalog, and we can add in the app that's just been added. And we scope that out to our Casper Focus group. Go over to Users, find your user. This example is me, and we assign it. Now you could use this method for perhaps a group of apps, but this seems to work very well. So actually on the device, this is what the user experience is going to be like. They're first prompted on the screen. They're presented with the EULA, and they agree to give away their firstborn child. The app will then be deployed down to the device. So just some thoughts here. You could use VPP user association with device-based. So you could have a layered deployment model. So you could perhaps push out your base set of apps to an iOS device, say iLife as an example, using device-based. And then if they are in a particular department or they're doing a particular course, they will then get the apps down based on who they are and what group they're in within your directory service. You're going to need, obviously, a VPP invitation to make this happen. As I mentioned before as well, you could have groups of applications or individual items. And again, forced install or self-service. I really, really encourage you to use extension attributes and smart groups where necessary. It makes things a lot easier. And again, with the adding the apps to the catalog, that is now automatic in 981. Is everyone here on 981? Mavericks. And yeah, the VPP assignments, using this method where we can actually use an extension attribute to assign the app to the individual app or group of apps to a particular user is a good way of doing it. Obviously, you could start using LDAP groups and stuff as well and limit out the apps to particular groups, but this is what I've found works really well so far. Okay. Let's open the floor to some questions. Be gentle, I'm hungover. Hello, up there. Okay. The question was, what happens when you essentially disassociate that app from the user? So what you're going to get actually on the device is the app will be revoked from the device. They'll get a push message saying that the app has now been revoked. I think it's 30, is it 30 days, the app? 30 days, yeah. And then the app will go. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir. I think it's the same. It's the same thing because it's been assigned.
Developer writing a code. 30 days is what we recommend as the default, but a developer can choose not to enter anything, at which point the app stays there and it still works.
There you go. Up the top there.
So in the deployment portal, if with that automatic checkbox, is it possible to revoke special Snowflake devices that you don't want to go to DEP before they?
To revoke what were you on about the device?
Yeah, so if they're automatically enrolling when they come from Apple, but you don't want maybe one device or a set of devices to be a part of DEP at all, is it possible to revoke them?
You wouldn't associate the device with that pre-stage. You wouldn't have the pre-stage option selected, and you just literally select what you wanted off that list. It's the best way of doing it. Yeah. Yes.
I'm still a little confused about the VPP invitations. My understanding was that with the device-based assignment, there are no VPP invitations. Can you still assign an app to a smart group using the device-based managed licenses, or do you still have to have that layered model that you were just?
No, you can. Sorry, the question. Sorry, to recap. So it was a question on whether you can use smart groups for device-based app assignments. Is that what you're on about there? Yeah, yeah. So it becomes more Mac-like, if it makes sense. If that makes sense. So yes, you can assign an app to a smart group, which is what we did there. We fit a set of criteria, and then the device will fall into that criteria. If it doesn't have this app, then put it down. Yeah.
But you still had to push a VPP invitation out. I think the goal for us anyway, because we have 2 VPP accounts, and we're having lots of issues getting that second invitation in a timely fashion, is to just eliminate the invitation altogether. So my question is, with this new device-based management, can we eliminate the VPP invitation completely and still be able to push our apps down based on LDAP?
Can you push apps down to devices based on smart group, essentially? Yes, without an invitation, yes, you can. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Up top there? Sorry.
So you've got 2 people that are asking a question.
There's a gentleman up there. Yes, yeah, sorry.
The question I have is regarding this new functionality of being able to provide apps without an Apple ID associated with the device. Does that require them to be supervised?
Yes. So the question was to deploy apps to a device without an Apple ID, are they required to be supervised? The answer there is actually yes, if you want the app to be installed silently. Okay. If if the device is not supervised, then they will be prompted.
Okay. But it still can function. The user will just be prompted.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Question over here.
How do you handle the production of the test JSS and DEP? If you want a device that we're going to test with first.
Yeah, okay. So the question there was, how do you handle DEP if you've got a test in production? I would say, that's an interesting one. Yes, you can upload your private key, your key from your JSS. I think you can use your same deployed@apple.com account, multiple JSSs, but you'll have a different, you're not going to automatically assign it to a particular MDM service. You're going to split them out, if that makes sense. So you're going to have your keys on both servers, but you're only going to have certain devices associated with certain servers. Yeah? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You have to manually assign, you're right.
Yeah.
You have to be careful because you can't move the devices back.
Actually, you can.
Fight! Look, I think that we can wrestle over it later at Grumpy's. It's not a problem. It's fine. Any other questions? Go on then. You up there, sir?
How do you migrate from user-based app assignment to device-based?
You would first probably disassociate those apps with the device, with the user accounts. You'd revoke them, then you'd reassign them out using device-based assignments if you're going to migrate from those.
So does the user lose data in the process?
Yeah, a thing also to note, the question was, do they also lose data? And the answer is yes. Also, the user, if you're using device-based app assignments, the app data isn't backed up to iCloud currently. Okay.
So if I'm using device-based app assignment,
Mm-hmm.
data associated with that is not backed up.
Is my understanding at the moment, yes.
No, if account doesn't know, all it knows is JSS.
The user can back up to iCloud if they have an Apple ID. But if they don't have an Apple ID,
Sorry, what was your question?
Well, it's not it's a clarification.
Right.
If the iPad does have an Apple ID already installed, then that app can store that in iCloud.
Sure, but the content, but that app itself isn't owned by that Apple ID. So it's not signed by that Apple ID, just sort of that how that works. Yes, it's signed by the JSS. It belongs to JSS. You're borrowing it as a benefit of being part of the program, right? Where you revoke it says that you associate you, the app falls off eventually. The last I read, they're trying to get the association to allow you to save data in your cloud. If you do associate to be there, the problem they're having is, what if I don't have an Apple ID? What if I do? How can the app decide what's going on? What data is viable? It belongs to the user versus you, the institution. The whole change implementation is take it away from the user and give it back to the institutions that try to fight data versus the user. So there's no clear answer.
Clear as mud, yeah. We all got that? Excellent.
Okay, if I ask a question about the user-based association versus
You-
device.
User, yep, okay.
I have to migrate a client with 8,000 some students, and the way I'm seeing it best work is to hit the revoke all apps button, pull back all my licenses against that VPP account or multiple accounts, and then honestly, I'm not going to away all the users online. It's not out that time, and then I'm going to decide based on my asset tags or serial numbers or whatever else from there. Is that probably the best workflow if that's the way you're going to go? Have the hybrid leftovers hanging out in the wind?
Yeah, so the question there was migrating again from user-based assignments to device-based assignments. The question here is basically, yes, you need to revoke all of those apps out and then republish them out using device-based. It's going to be the best work.
The users at that point, because I won't care. As far as the users of JSS, because I won't actually remove all those too. It's a whole JSS I inherit, but it's got thousands of users that don't exist or are incorrect or whatever. So if I revoke all apps and then remove those users which aren't at that time, and then redo that appropriately, and then just assign based on asset tag or serial number, I'm effectively solved that problem.
Correct, that is correct, yeah. Sorry. Who's talking? Ah, sorry, over there.
Sorry, I'm piggybacking off of this gentleman's question.
Okay.
For demo redeemed codes, is the process or the workflow
Sorry, the question there was using redemption codes. If the user has an Apple ID on the device and they have been given that redemption code, they essentially now own that app.
When I'm using the mobile configurator, and I have Apple ID.
Now, you do bring up something, I've actually got that question in the URS.
But the JSS doesn't own the VPP codes that we bring them back. The sell point for Apple for using the configurator, so we didn't build it, was to let us bring back apps so we can back into the configurator on that one group for however many iPads. The issue is, if you wipe that device or unsupervised or remove it completely or ship it off from RMA and they can get something else, those codes die, right? Only configurator can contain those codes. So in the JSS, I have several hundred apps with certain codes. And I'm like, oh, let's remove those. No. They're retained, they're just gone. Only the configurator will allow it to be tapped.
So what you would do is connect it to the configurator, remove that app, get your codes back, and have Apple port them into your VPP, and then force them out.
Probably faster to assume they're current consumables and move to a new version.
Absolutely.
If you can recover the codes and you upgrade the configurator to Apple configurator to this migration assistant, that's what I would do the right thing. Yeah, that migration assistant will spit your codes back out to a spreadsheet. We prefer not to use the word spit, but yeah. What I found, it said during that process, it said, okay, now please call Apple Care at this number. So I call Apple Care at this number, and of course the tier 1 agent didn't know what to do, tier 2 agent didn't know what to do, and referred me to the, they're playing bounce around while they're trying to figure out what to do. My Apple SE said that's not what should be happening, I'll get back to you, I'm waiting for that.
Hang on, sorry, can I just hold on one second? I've got a question down here.
Well, you were discussing about assigning through smart groups. If I create a smart group, assign it to, and push it out at the beginning of the school year, when I have somebody move into our district, if I just add them to smart group, they automatically get that portion.
So the question there was if you're automatically assigning the app to a smart group, is that?
Right.
Yeah.
We're using smart groups. If I add somebody to that group, even though I've already pushed out at the beginning of the school year, somebody comes in mid-semester, and I add them to the group, do they automatically get all assignments from there?
That's correct, yes.
Do I have to go in and tell them to push again?
No, it depends on your scoping on your smart group, really. Are you doing it? So what I would probably add in there as a flag, say if the app doesn't exist, so it is installed, it is not installed.
Make an infinite statement.
Yeah.
That's because what they were saying earlier, we had some that were assigned with the token. You said revoke everything first before we do this. Can we revoke the smart group? Can I create a smart group and pull back in tokens or assign?
How did you purchase your apps? Did you purchase them via redeemable codes or managed distribution licenses?
I think it's
Yeah, this is...
Redeemable codes, getting them back is going to be darn near impossible, shy of an axe battle.
that's what it did.
If you go with managed distribution, yeah, is revoke all apps, or another trick I use to get something off a particular thing is I create a troubleshooting disabled group, smart group, and then I manually add members to that if I need to get it back, and I exclude all my app assignments.
Okay. Up the back there, sorry. Question. Good.
All right, so it is not possible to get your redemption code back. So if you're using Apple configurator, they have not been burned. You just need to contact VPP support. There's a phone number and there's a fulfillment website, like that URL, I have it. And you just go to fulfillment, you say, I have VPP codes, I'd like to change it over to managed distribution licenses. And they'll do that on the back end, and they'll show up in your VPP. And then you can distribute them however you like, either user-based assignment or device-based assignment inside your JSS.
Okay, that sounds good, but I've got one
How
question.
about you come talk to me?
Okay, please.
Okay.
Absolutely. Any more? Rory, question up here. Question up here, this sir.
I was just going to add on with the questions about transitioning from user-based to device-based. From a support perspective, one of the things that I've seen a few times is if you have a user on a device and then whether intentionally or accidentally that VPP checkbox gets checked, that one device can actually
Okay. Yeah, so the question there was whether you're doing a migration and whether you can, essentially you could burn 2 codes. I think I saw that the other day actually, but again, I would really recommend, it's down to the scoping of your smart group. So I put some if statements, say if the app isn't on there, then why, yeah, just be a bit more thoughtful. Don't just scope to everything and just, you know, create the criteria that you want to meet. Okay. Any other questions? One here.
Just kind of so the DEP one, authorized resellers, that's AT&T, Verizon. So we purchase our iPads through Apple,
Okay.
iPhones through Verizon or AT&T. You can get those, that's DEP, right?
I don't know what it is like.
Does not support DEP currently, and it's super duper annoying.
Yeah.
AT&T will be starting very soon. They have an application portal that you can reach out to your account admin office about it.
Yeah. So.
This portal also allows you to add as many third-party resellers, carriers as you like. So you can buy iPads from one, Macs from another, iPhones from another. Doesn't matter. If they're in the program from the back end, you can add as many as you like. They just have to be participating in the program.
Yeah. Again, it's down to that original procurement piece. We get the same problem. We've got customers that are buying. You know, it's amazing the larger carriers that are not signed up for some of these. So, yeah, look where you buy your devices. Yes, sir.
If you have a DEP account and you have 2 MDM systems, is it possible to switch an iPad from one system to the other?
Yes, because so the question there, if you have 2 MDM servers in your DEP account, can you switch an iPad from one MDM to the other? Yes, the association is done at the top level at deployed@apple.com, so you can then assign which MDM server you would like to go to. Absolutely, yeah.
There are a lot of customers that do that when evaluating MDM solutions. They'll set it up in DEP and evaluate one MDM vendor and move their device to another MDM vendor and move it to another until they're comfortable. They enrollment's based on the DEP account. Right.
Sorry, another question down here.
If you install the app to the device, can you still make it unmanaged to the app, or does it have to be managed?
If the app has been installed by the JSS, it will be managed.
Like, because when you install to the user, you know, you can say, there's a pull-down box for unmanaged or managed.
Yeah.
And some apps don't work right if they're managed.
Um,
If you want to change the setting, it still reverts back.
My understanding is if the app has been pushed down by the JSS, then that app is managed. But it depends the mechanism. Is that right, Daniel?
It's always managed.
Yeah.
Because the JSS is now for app-based devices.
Assignment, yeah.
The JSS is responsible for updating the app, so it has to be managed.
Yeah. Any others? Yes, sir.
Simple question, is there any reason to stick with user-based other than apps that don't support device-based licensing?
The question there is there any reason to stick with user-based? It's really going to depend on your environment and your workflow. Fundamentally, I mean.
You have users with multiple devices, teachers.
Yeah.
I can see some, in our case, I've got one app that costs $200, it's a special ed app. I only want that assigned to those users and I want it to follow them, no matter
Absolutely,
what.
yeah.
Whereas things like pages, numbers, and keynote.
Generic, yeah.
with
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. Yeah, again, it depends on your workflow and you know how you want this stuff laid out. Any more questions? Up there, hello.
So I'm a little confused by that, because if you want them to be able to back up their content on the app, then they do need backup to iCloud, but doesn't need to be user-based.
I think that's probably a conversation you need to have with Apple. It was about the app data on a device-based app assignment and the app data not being backed up. Absolutely, yeah. It's probably something that'll get adjusted. I think there's any other questions? No, that's it. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.